In August 2015, Michael Koretzky, a regional director for the Society of Professional Journalists, hosted the SPJ Airplay conference. The idea of the conference was to have journalistic ethics experts meet with Gamergate supporters to discuss their concerns about games journalism and the way the media covered Gamergate. The second half of the conference was interrupted by bomb threats, forcing the convention center to be evacuated. Do you have any thoughts on this event?
Uh, I don't think the people chosen to go were necessarily the best. Certainly, Milo stands out. I didn't like him from the off and said so many times. It was fairly obvious he was a bit of a grifter, but he did get a couple of scoops, like the Game Journo pros. So mixed bag, I guess. I almost feel sorry for the guy now. And the people on the journalism side looked like a dog that had been shown a card trick. I don't think they understood much of anything that was being described to them, and they seemed to be almost hostile to things being contextualized. Like Christina Hoff Sommers in particular, I felt she was trying to place Gamergate within a broader social context, and they didn't seem to want to listen to it. But I felt it was actually quite important to do that in order to get the full sort of nuance and to understand the build up to it. So that it was frustrating to watch in the first half, though they did end up agreeing that there were breaches of journalistic ethics. That should have been a much bigger and more important deal outside of that meeting and outside Gamergate than it was. I felt, but it didn't seem to land. I also felt the bomb threat should have been a bigger deal. It should have been reported on as much as the alleged threats against Sarkeesian and so on were, but it wasn't. And there was another bomb threat, I think, at a Washington, D.C. meetup as well, that was taken seriously by the police, whereas the threats against Sarkeesian and so on weren't considered credible. That one, at least, I know, was considered credible. So it felt like a wasted opportunity. It was frustrating in a great many ways, but I did feel like it was validation. In the moment, I remember feeling elated that such an important body had agreed with us that there were breaches of journalistic ethics.
You said alleged threats that Anita Sarkeesian had received.
Yeah.
Do you think she also received real threats, or was it all just not?
Um. So I'm sure she has received threats. I doubt very much any of them were genuinely serious. I know that they were taken seriously and investigated, and that none were found to be credible. Same thing happened with other figures. Certainly, nothing was ever connected back to Gamergate. The main case I remember was traced back to I think a couple of teenagers who were just taking exception to her and seeing her as a trolling target. And that has tended to be the case with a lot of high-profile cases of this sort. I forget her name, but the woman who wanted one of the portraits on the money over here changed had a lot of trolls attacking her and threatening her, and they just turned out to be a couple of sad sack individuals who just trolled anybody, really. And that seems to be the case the vast majority of the time. So I find it hard to take online threats seriously.
Why do you think it is that the media didn't cover SPJ Airplay?
inconvenient, countervailing the narrative. The mainstream had already moved on. Not that they ever really bothered to investigate properly, other than maybe Huffington Post, if you count that as mainstream.
Some people.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, good.
Sorry, go on.
Some people believe that GamerGate should have ended after SPJ Airplay. What did you think?
It's not enough to win. You have to be seen to win. You need to wrest concessions from the losing side. But the losing side didn't understand that they'd lost, and in a very practical sense, they hadn't lost because nobody was paying attention. Nobody on the losing side was going to cover it. So it just fell flat. Excuse me. And I think at that point, we were moving more into a sort of culture war stage where it was less about those sorts of things and it was more about the censorship and the other sort of cultural issues. But that's around when I started to lose interest, I think.
Yeah, I kept going until early 2018, and by then it looked like GamerGate was dead to me. Like I felt like I was the last one left, me and a couple other people. There was a meetup in San Francisco in the summer of 2018, though, I believe. So I guess a couple people kept going. But
yeah,
good.
It didn't feel like anything more could be accomplished. And you can only flog a dead horse for so long, I think.
Hi, I'm Tachyon Blue. Thank you for watching another one of my GamerGate book video segments. Altogether, I've interviewed over 70 people involved with GamerGate, and I'm going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign in the coming weeks. So please, I need your support to help make this project a reality. I'm turning these 70 plus interviews into a multi-volume series of books, the first volume of which is already completed. And so I'd like you to please stay tuned for more information about the Kickstarter. And if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment. More updates will be coming in the near future. Thank you, and take care.